Welcome to another episode of the Save Yourself podcast. Today, I have a very special co-host who's going to help me go through your questions, the questions that you've submitted through Instagram, through our stories, and we're going to be answering those for you. And I think a lot of these Q&As are really, really important because I want to know what is helpful for you. I want to create more content that is useful for your life. So that's what we're going to do today. I just got back from looking at the retreat location at the Andaz Scottsdale. I really want you guys to check this out. It's September 19th and 20th. It's going to be something like you've never done before. We're going to focus on connection. We're going to focus on health. We're going to focus on nutrition, and all of the things that we're supposed to be doing head to toe to improve our health. You can check out the link in the show notes, or you could go to amymdwellness.com and check out the information there. I would love to see you. We're doing a very, very limited group so that we can keep it intimate. The Thursday night party, if you just choose to do that, that's a little bit larger and a less of a commitment. If you're like, let me just see how it is for the first time, that's the Thursday night white party. If you want to commit to the whole thing and do live coaching, do cold plunge, sauna, yoga together, that will be the full retreat. So I can't wait to see you guys for that. I also want to tell you that AMD Wellness is our sister site at AMD Wellness, and we are at 10,000 followers there because we're showing kind of the other side. When you want to know more, you want to know more about the recipes, more about the 30-33, which we're going to talk about today. You can go to AMD Wellness and see that. So that's really cool. It's also where we put all our new products. We have the chai latte stick packs. We have the chai protein. It's where you can get all of those details about that. You can also go to amymdwellness.com. All right. So I'm so excited to do this episode, and I want to introduce my co-host as someone that is super smart, super beautiful inside out. She's my daughter, Lara. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Do you want to tell people about the embarrassing episodes of being with me last time we filmed, or are we skipping that?
I don't know. It's up to you.
So we filmed a few things together, a good number of things, not enough for me to be considered there's this new thing in, I think it's Louisiana or some state where you have to pay your children if they're in more than 30% of your content. I don't think we're there yet, but we're getting closer. But the last time we did something together, you got kind of like made fun of. You want to share that story?
Well, we made a video about putting bread in the freezer, and it ended up doing really well and ending up on a lot of my friends' Reels page. So
Discovery, like
for the whole week, I was being asked why we put the bread in the freezer.
So people would be like, hey, Lara, why are you putting bread in the freezer, right?
Yeah, it was a good laugh.
It's not the only time you've been, it wasn't like bullying though, right?
They were like it was just like a funny joke, yeah.
So what she's referring to is that when you put bread in the freezer and you use it after it's been frozen, so then you toast it after it's been frozen, some of that bread actually gets converted into a very healthy resistant starch that's very good for your gut. And so we were doing a video to educate people on that. And the hook, like the first part of the video, was her grabbing bread out of the freezer and me being like, her asking me like, Mom, why is there bread in the freezer? And then that's how it started. And then everybody would see her in the hallways and be like, Lara, why is there bread in the freezer? And so she was like, Mom, everyone is saying this to me. But you said it wasn't in a mean way, so that's good. Yeah. So, how do you like it being in these videos? Are you like, is it fun? Is it embarrassing? Like, what do you think of this?
I think it's always fun. I get a good laugh out of it when my friends see it, and but I think it's great because I get to learn new things too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's get into the questions. You have the questions here. I sent you some of the questions beforehand so we can get to them. Do you want to start with the first one?
Okay, the first one is probably a common question. Is yogurt a prebiotic food?
Yogurt is a probiotic food, PRO. Probiotic foods are foods that have live bacteria in them. Now, The thing is, in America, not all yogurts have probiotics in them, shockingly. So the things that have like M&Ms on the top, the ones that are ultra processed, they actually are heat processed and their probiotics are killed. So you really want to stick to the unsweetened yogurts, or you can have sweetened yogurts, but make sure on the label it says there's live bacteria in it. Probiotics are really important for our gut. In my 30-33, I talk about 30 grams of protein in your first meal, 30 grams of fiber throughout the day, and 3 servings of probiotic foods. So that could be a half a cup of yogurt, half a cup of cottage cheese. It can be apple cider vinegar and water. It can be kimchi, a spoon of kimchi, a spoon of sauerkraut, your favorite natto. Tell people who don't know what natto is.
So it's a Japanese food. It's like fermented beans.
Yeah.
And you can find it at a lot of Japanese restaurants, and it's actually pretty good, and it's really good for you.
Yeah, super, super healthy. And you like whip it up with rice, right?
Yeah.
So it's a super healthy thing. So yogurt is some of the easiest ways to get your probiotics, but even better than yogurt is kefir. We have that in our fridge. I don't know if you've ever tried it. It is it's got like 3 times more probiotics than regular yogurt. So if you like kefir, that's something you can make a smoothie out of or eat in the morning too.
The next question is, what is perimenopause and how do you know if you're in it?
Okay, I love this question. Perimenopause is something no one talks about. People don't even know what that word even means. I get people telling me all the time that they go to their doctor, they tell them they're tired, they tell them that they're bloated, they tell them their cycles are changing, they tell them they have sleep issues, and even sometimes they'll have night sweats or hot flashes, and their doctor will say, all right, let me check your labs. Nope, you're not in menopause, there's nothing wrong, just go home. They get vitamin D, they get told to lose weight, and they get sent home. And it's really sad. Like people like my mom, your grandma, my mother-in-law, like all the women that went through menopause, they never got any guidance to what it even is or what this world, this 10 years before the menopause transition is. I think it's really sad. And what my goal is to actually talk to people about nutrition during that time. Your microbiome is changing, your hormones are changing, your brain is changing. So there are many, many things you can be doing. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as easy as adding more magnesium to your diet, adding more vitamin D, adding more fiber, doing the 30-33. Those are simple steps to improving your health during this perimenopausal transition. So I want to spread more awareness because even kids and people in their 20s and their 30s want to know, hey, what is going to be happening to me in my late 30s, in my 40s, in my 50s? What can I be doing now to help change this? So for example, cholesterol goes up in 15% of people in perimenopause. People feel fatigued. It's the highest time of depression and mood changes. It is a time where people feel really exhausted. So I talk about this because I want girls and young women and women in their 30s and 40s and 50s to know that you can do things for your health. You can change your nutrition. You can change your lifestyle, and that's really going to help. I just got off the phone with someone who was talking about she's a mom and she's really having trouble with her energy levels. And that's such a common thing. So I talked to her about changing her diet. I talked to her about adding the 30-33. I talked to her about adding more magnesium, more vitamin D. And the things I always talk to you about: better sleep, better sunlight, getting steps during the day, really controlling that stress, getting nature time, and having good social connections. You know, and I know, when you connect to people, good people, it really helps relieve the stress. And during these perimenopausal years, your stress levels are really out of control. Your body becomes less resilient to the stress. So lots to look forward to for you.
Yep. Okay, next question. How much exercise would you say is like enough exercise?
Okay, that's a really good one. So there's minimal exercise, right? Like the exercise that you would say that makes you, that starts giving you benefits. And that starts at almost nothing. Like just getting up and walking around is great for you if you're someone who's sedentary. But when you're talking about changing the heart, So we want to make the heart really strong and flexible. And that takes years to train that. So that's going to take a lot more. Studies looking, Dr. Ben Levine, he's did one of the biggest studies on heart health with cardiovascular exercise. And he's saying that actually it's more like 4 to 6 times a week that you have to exercise. And there has to be a component of like high intensity workout, like, our runs or something that raises your heart rate.
Yeah.
To be considered really good lifelong lengthening exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So he found in his group that you could make people 30 years younger, their heart 30 years younger, by putting them on an exercise plan for 2 years. So they did a combination of walking, of weight training, yoga, and then one high intensity session a week. And they worked up to it and did it for about 2 years. So they worked up to it for a year and a half. And then for 6 months, they did that regimen.
Yeah.
And he saw that they reversed the age of their heart. It's like a 50-year-old looked like a 30-year-old when you looked at the heart. Isn't that crazy?
Awesome. Yeah, it's
crazy. You can anti-age your heart by exercising.
Yeah, that's crazy how much impact it makes on you to just do workout.
And when you start at your age, you really can make a big difference. But, if you're someone watching today and you're listening and you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, and you're thinking like, what is the one way I can reverse the age of my body, especially my heart, is going to be adding that exercise in, and kind of in the same range of like 4 to 6 times a week. So that's the optimal. It's not the minimal. Minimal, you could go for a walk every day, 20 minutes, and get up to 8 to 10,000 steps, and that's really great. That's a good start. But then you can really want to ramp up from there. And what happens is like people like your age, you're super active because of dance.
Yeah.
Super active because of you spend a lot of time outside doing things, swimming, activities.
Mm-hmm.
But as you move into later in your life, your 30s, 40s, 50s, you often aren't as active.
Yeah.
And that's when people start to become sedentary. And that's when they have to start really taking into consideration what exercises they should be doing. So in the ideal world, you'll exercise 4 to 6 times a week, and it'll be a combination of weight training, walking, and at least one push, and probably a yoga. We love our yoga and Pilates, right? We've been on a yoga kind of, a hot Pilates kind of kick, except that it messes up my hair. But other than that, it's really fun. Although this morning we missed our hot Pilates. We were both really tired and we skipped it.
But I feel like it is really important to work out that 4 to 6 times a week and have a good plan that you can stick
I think
to.
it's easy at your age. I think it gets a lot harder as you get older.
Especially when you stop your sports and everything.
Yeah. All right, next question.
Okay, next question. Magnesium. This is a big one. How does it work? What's the purpose?
Magnesium is an essential mineral in your body. It is involved in over 300 enzymatic processes in your body. When you have magnesium deficiency, it's not just muscle cramps and headaches and, it's actually calcifications in your heart, in your kidneys, all over your body, including your brain. That's the most dangerous sign of magnesium deficiency. Magnesium deficiency should be corrected through diet and through supplementation. Now, we talked about perimenopause, like this transition that women have in their late 30s, 40s, and 50s. They often will improve with supplementation with some magnesium. So magnesium glycinate is a type of supplement that we have that basically helps you lower your cortisol levels. It helps with sleep and it helps with anxiety. So all the things that you kind of need to relax and the things that are really bothering people in perimenopause, magnesium glycinate can help. Magnesium in general is in a lot of healthy foods like nuts, beans, leafy greens. That's why I'm always telling you to eat your greens when you're having something, because you want to start to incorporate magnesium into foods. You actually want to get a lot of magnesium, like 550 milligrams of magnesium a day is what's been shown to actually help reverse the aging of the brain. So we talked about reversing aging of the heart with the workouts, but I'm talking about reverse aging of the brain with adequate magnesium. I mean, if you could do something to anti-age your brain, I mean, why wouldn't you do it, right?
Yeah, I feel like magnesium has a lot of good things that come from it that not a lot of people see.
People think of magnesium and they're like, okay, what supplement? But you actually can get a lot of it from foods. And then you can also supplement, magnesium glycinate. The glycinate is good for people that have sleep and stress issues. Like I said, perimenopause, this is awesome. But there's a citrate that helps you poop, like it's for constipation. There is, don't take the oxide version because it doesn't get absorbed well. The citrate, the glycinate, and the threonate, which is good for brain health. Those are the three that I really like. So just like I always tell you to take vitamin D.
Yes.
Magnesium is another one that most people at your age can get it from their diet, but as you get older, you may want to supplement with it.
Yeah.
And the other vitamin that I think is in that category of kind of really great things to add during perimenopause is omega-3 fatty acids. So I do the algae oil because you go straight to the source. You don't have to worry about rancid fish. But you can also do the omega-3s, fish oil as well.
Okay, so the last question, and I feel like that this could be beneficial for a lot of people, is what foods do you recommend for bloating?
Oh gosh. Okay, yeah, this is a big question that we get. I'm looking at Kalia because she's interning here this summer, and this is one of the questions she wanted me to answer is like, what do you do for bloat? And then I asked you about bloating, and you said you never really have an issue with that. So lucky you. A lot of people have IBS. IBS is irritable bowel syndrome. It is literally that the bowel is irritated. So it's often because your bacteria in your gut is imbalanced. So you have more bad bacteria than good bacteria. And often when the bad bacteria gets angry, they produce gas, and then you get this big stomach and discomfort. Some of the best foods, like if you're waking up in the morning and you feel fine, but as the day goes on, that's when this happens.
Yeah.
Some of the foods you might want to eat in the morning are things that have natural digestive enzymes in them, like papaya. Pineapple, avocado. And if you're going to do a bread, you want to do a sourdough bread because that actually has enzymes in it to help break down the bread. And it's a lot easier to tolerate. So the things that typically cause bloating is sugar, like artificial sugars, and also high fructose corn syrup, all the sugars, processed sugars, and then dairy often can be very inflammatory, especially non-fermented. So the typical ice creams, milks, and that kind of thing. And then wheat, like the bread, pasta, all of these things, especially the ultra processed kinds, that can be very, very irritated. So you want to avoid those things and have the other things instead. That can help bloating a lot. But it's a long game because if you have irritable bowel syndrome, you're really trying to change the gut bacteria, and that can take a really long time. So that's something that I think bloating is something that people suffer with a lot.
A lot of people suffer.
And these are foods that you can start with. One thing I did want to cover today that I'm getting a lot of questions about is give us examples of the 30-33. So just to reiterate, 30-33 means 30 grams of protein in your first meal, 30 grams of fiber throughout the day, and 3 servings of probiotic foods. And that is a nice structure for women in perimenopause, but also a nice structure for anyone who's trying to improve their gut health. So if you're someone who's younger than perimenopause, older than perimenopause, but you're having a lot of gut issues, this is something that can actually help you. So the 30 grams of protein could be an egg scramble with veggies with some cottage cheese on the side or yogurt on the side. It can be an avocado toast with, again, a yogurt, cottage cheese, or if you're trying to do non-dairy, you could have tofu. You can have black bean scramble. You can do protein powder if you like. So edamame or roasted edamame is, one of my favorite snacks.
Yeah.
This kind of high protein breakfast is not only going to set your blood sugar up for the rest of the day, it's also going to improve your gut health and send signals to your brain that you're full. And so it can help with that. The 30 grams of fiber. So if you have IBS or some irritable constipation, bloating issue, you have to be careful with the fiber. Okay. You don't want to be eating a ton of fiber all at once, especially like raw broccoli or raw cauliflower or raw cabbage. You're going to have a very, very angry gut. You want to take it slow. You want to add some leafy greens like spinach, soft things. I love baby spinach because it's very easy to cook. Mushrooms, foods that are very, very easy to digest, but then also have a lot of fiber, like avocado. Avocado is very easy to digest, but it has a lot of fiber. Berries, things like that can be very, very good to improve your fiber intake for the day and also help you with the IBS. So when you're talking about fiber, the way I think about it is that every meal you want to include something that has fiber in it. So berries at your breakfast, avocado for breakfast, then maybe it's a salad at lunch. So, and maybe some veggies on the side at dinner. So like every meal you're having some kind of fiber. That's how you can get to 30 grams. I recommend you look at it on MyFitnessPal or some kind of free app where you log in your food. You can see how many grams of fiber you're getting every single day. Can help you track. Someone like you, like who's young, it's not so hard because, you're kind of getting a lot of home cooked meals or you're eating veggies and fruits because they're available to you. But as you get older, it becomes harder. And a lot of people eat on the go, eat in a rush. One of the things that made me think of is, when we went to Japan, didn't you think it was so weird how there was no garbage cans anywhere and people like were not eating on the go at all? Like we couldn't even eat on the go.
I feel like that's healthier for you, like to eat right where you are and then go on with your day.
Yeah, like there was no one carrying around their food or drinks on the train.
And there was set meals at every time. That's less snacking.
Yeah,
so
like everyone's sitting down. They're having meals with other people. One of the biggest things I think we learn is that the people who spend the least time at tables, which is Americans, are the unhealthiest. I mean, they have chronic diseases. So we think it's like wasted time to sit and have a meal with someone.
Yeah.
But as you know, my habit is often to spend time with you. I'll say to you, like, do you want to go for a healthy, like flower child or some kind of healthy lunch or dinner? And it's a way to connect, and connecting over shared meals is a way to improve your microbiome. And it's a way to connect to someone. So I think back in the day, I would have been like, oh, I'm so busy. I don't want to waste my time.
Yeah.
But now I really take time with my kids, with my family, with friends to kind of share meals because it improves their gut health, your gut health, and also somehow the quality of the food that you're eating, and the fact that I think it's a combination of like sitting down and actually chewing your food, but also that you're choosing foods that actually are meals rather than just like fast food, open a package and go.
And I feel like not only that, but you can connect with people. Yes. And I feel like when we were in Japan, you could see the difference in the people in Japan and in America because they're sitting down and eating and like sharing that time with other people.
I think sharing time with other people is something that we never learned in medical school. Like it's not something that we talk about, community and connection, but that's why I'm doing this retreat because I realize like at the end of the day, it's actually all about community and connection. And so if you're doing all the things right, you're eating all the things right, you're doing all the exercises, but you don't have a community or connection, you're not going to be the healthiest you can be. And that's how I feel about mindset too. Like having some kind of spirituality or some kind of prayer practice. I remember when you were kids, when you guys were young, we used to do that like gratitude thing. Like, what are you grateful for? I would like force you to go outside, look at the sun and say what you were grateful for. And you and Jaden always made fun of it. Like you were like laughing about it all the time. But I think it was like a good thing.
I feel like in the morning, if you start your morning out like that, talking about what you're thankful for, grateful for in your life and going out and getting sunlight, it really would just, even though I would make fun of it, I feel like it would really improve my day.
Did it improve your day, you think?
Yeah, it's a great tactic just to start your day off on a right foot and not start your day off in your bed just mindlessly scrolling.
Okay, this reminds me. One of the most underutilized tools in health is a sunny walk. A sunny walk will cure and reverse almost every ailment, or at least help it. We know that not only does walking in nature reduce cortisol, it also improves blood flow to your brain. It boosts your mood, your affect. It boosts your health in so many different ways. And it's like people talk about all these fancy hacks and supplements and things, and no one really is giving credit to the humble walk. And the walk is something that can change everything. So like doing just a quick morning stroll, or even if it's just for 10 minutes going outside and moving your body with sunlight, because sunlight, when it comes in, it rewires your circadian rhythms. It can make all the difference.
Yeah, it's definitely the little things like sharing a meal, going out on a small walk that really just make all the difference.
Yeah. So I saw some of the questions after we made that list, and I feel like out of all the questions, a lot of people were asking about like supplements, foods, exercises. And so I was thinking that I would go through a couple of supplements that I love, a couple of foods that I love, and then we'll kind of end it on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple of supplements I love. And this is for the perimenopausal woman, maybe 30s, 40s, and 50s. It can be for other people too, but it depends on your age and the stage of life you're in. So the supplements that I love for perimenopause is omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, and magnesium. Sometimes we'll do calcium as well, depending on your age. But those three are kind of like, I take those every single day.
Big three.
That's the ones that I take. And magnesium glycinate at night. Sometimes I'll take the citrate too to help me go. And the vitamin D is taken in the morning, and omega-3s are best taken with food.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think that everybody needs to take a probiotic, but if you wanted to do that, you could take that as well. But I think you can get probiotics from probiotic foods. That's the ideal scenario.
Yeah.
So that's the supplements. We talked about exercise a little bit, walking, weight training, high intensity. Okay, do you want to do this high intensity workout with me in the next few days? Now you're under the gun because I'm asking you. Okay, it's the 4x4. So when we talked about the research of like how you get the healthiest heart, how you reverse the age of your heart by 20 years. Mm-hmm. So the way you can reverse the age of your heart by 20 years is by doing an exercise regimen that Dr. Ben Levine looked at in the literature, and it was including 4 to 6 days of working out. So it had a combination of cardio, walking, biking, and then there's weight training. And then there was this Norwegian 4x4 once a week. Okay. So this Norwegian 4x4 is a sprint workout where you sprint as hard as you can, work as hard as you can for 4 minutes. And then you take a break and then you do it again. And you can just do it in different ways. Like there's a version where you can just sprint for 30 seconds and then walk and then sprint for another 30 seconds, or you can just do a higher intensity for 4 minutes and then take a longer break.
Yeah.
But it's basically a sprint workout. One of the versions of this sprint workout that I love is called Crazy Eights. So the Crazy Eights is if you work yourself up from sedentary to walking, to weight training, to doing yoga, Pilates, and hiking, and then you want to add in one sprint workout a week, I would add either the Norwegian 4x4 or the Sprint 8, which is an 8-minute workout where you sprint for 30 seconds and then you walk for 1 minute, and then you do that 8 times. So you're a total of 4 minutes of sprints there too.
Yeah, I feel like 4 minutes in like at one time of high intensity workout seems like a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like that could be like the other things could be really beneficial.
Yeah, like doing 30 seconds and then
Of
walking for
sprinting,
1
yeah.
minute and then just doing 8 rounds of that.
Yeah, that doesn't seem
That's
bad.
a total of 4 minutes, and that's doable. And that's actually how you can reverse the age of your heart by 20 years. So that is, I think, something that we should incorporate more of. Maybe we could do it together. What do you think?
Yeah.
We used to do those track workouts, remember?
Yeah, we would run on the track a lot.
Yeah, and like do sprints like that. I think that could be really helpful. Okay, and in closing, I really wanted to emphasize that I do these podcasts for you to give a no-cost resource for all of the listeners and the people watching today. We want to give them information that can change their life. Like this is none of the things we talked about today have any kind of cost, or at least everything is inexpensive or free. Like We talked about walking. We talked about diet changes. We talked about supplements that are pretty inexpensive, mindset shifts, community, nature, sunlight. I mean, these are things that you don't need a lot of money for.
Yeah.
If you want to do something that costs a lot of money, I think the things I would do is like sauna, but that doesn't even cost a lot of money because we go to the gym and that has a sauna, right? The other thing that maybe costs money for people that is doing lab testing. I think it's really important to look at your labs, which by the way, you're due for your labs. We need to look, I just got my labs done. I think looking inside your body and really knowing what's happening is, especially as you get older, is really underrated. And that sometimes can be expensive for people, although there are newer options that aren't as expensive. I think the most expensive thing that you can do for your health is like vacations. Because that bringing your stress levels down and actually finding ways to balance your mind is something that can really help. So anyways, I'm really happy we did this. Thank you for being on the podcast today. Any parting notes or anything you want to say?
No, I'm just so glad that we got to talk and we got to do this. I feel like it was great, and I definitely look forward to what comes next.
Are you going to co-host again ever?
I don't know. Wherever the wind blows, I guess.
All right. Thanks for being on. Thanks for watching. So check out the retreat, September 19th. Check out AMD Wellness. Check out the chai latte stick packs, the protein chai, and so much more. We have so much more. If we want to do another user-generated session, we should do it soon. So thanks, guys.
Thank you.